This is just a quick video to talk about decision points, and specifically when to keep going and when to quit, when to give up. And you might be wondering why there's tinkling bells and chanting in the background. I'll show you that, and why I'm sweaty. I'll tell you that in a moment. I'll show you that in a moment. First, I want to talk about a very difficult conversation I had with a coaching client of mine recently. A guy I've been working with, or a studio I've been working with for more than a year. Chanting's getting louder and louder. Worked with for more than a year, and they had the conversation about, do we keep going or do we shut it down? It was really tough. And they've tried 2 or 3 times to figure it out, to get it right, and just couldn't get it right. And for me, when you need to make this, it's one of the toughest decisions you have to make when making your own games. Do I push on? Because we're told, don't give up, don't quit, keep going, don't ever give up. But the point here is, don't give up on your dream, don't give up on achieving something. It doesn't have to be that very specific thing that you get. So the decision point for me is our direction not right, off, not working, or is our execution not right, off, not working? And more often than not, it's the execution. Sometimes it's the direction. And what you need to do is go back and have a look at, do we still believe in what it is we're trying to achieve? Do we still think that this is a great way to go? Do we still think this is going to be, bang on, there's a need for it in the market, that people want it? And if you still believe in the vision, then look at your execution. And your execution, do we have the right team in place? Do we know what we're doing? Do we have the tech? Do we have the tools? And if your execution is not right there, then change it up. Change your approach. How can we bring someone on board? How can we get help? How can we change it around? So the studio that I was working with, we had that conversation. They tried 2 or 3 times. They tried changing the execution of the game from multiplayer to single player. They added people, they changed things around, and it just still wasn't working. So we said, it's time to wrap it up. It's time to shut up shop. As a tough choice. And now, back to why I'm sweaty and why there's so much noise going on here, is that for me, I've recently had this decision point myself. I'm doing my workcation. I'm traveling around. I'm here currently in Thailand. And I desperately wanted to run up to the big Buddha on the hill. And I looked on Google Maps, and I saw the road doesn't go here. You have to go the whole way around, like a massive 20-kilometer detour that would take way too long, like hours and hours and hours for me to run. But I wanted to run up here. I looked on the map, and there's a road, and then further up there's another road. And when I looked at Google Earth, I could see there was maybe a little track in between. I'm like, I'm going to get up there, I'm going to run up to this darn big Buddha. And the first time I tried, I ran up tons of hills, like hills and hills and hills, just really tough. And I got to the point where I thought I was going sort of the right way, lots of little tracks. I was looking for a little track, and there was a whole bunch of dogs. There's a whole bunch of dogs just going crazy, yapping at me, and on the road. They weren't like behind a fence or anything. And I looked down this path, and I saw that there was just, I don't know, they looked pretty vicious to me, saying you can't go this way. And I didn't know another way to go, so I stopped. I ran back home again. It was an okay run, but I didn't reach my target of making it to the big Buddha. I didn't get there. And so I was sitting there thinking, maybe that's it. Maybe you just cannot get to the big Buddha going this way. Maybe that's why there's a road going around the other way. But you know what? I still believe that there's a little track here. I still think I can make it. I'm going to give it another shot. But I changed my strategy. I rented a motorbike and I scouted the area. And this is a little bit of a analogy, a metaphor, a hidden meaning in terms of getting help. Don't try to do things the same way you've been doing it. Go get help. And so I rented a motorbike, I rode around, and finally I found a track I hadn't been up, really steep and muddy, and I'm like, oh God, rode motorbike up there. This is just now, just today. Rode it up there, and I saw a sign that said Big Buddha that way. I'm like, yes, you can make it this way. So I rode my bike back down the hill, reluctantly, back down the hill, because I knew I'd have to run back up from the start. I wanted to do this properly. So I've just now reached the big Buddha, and I'll see if I can walk out here and give you guys without bumping into things. There it is. Big Buddha. And the meaningfulness of reaching this, I'll go back in here so you can see me again. It meant so much to me to make it, not because the big Buddha is like a lifelong dream of mine, but it was the goal. It's where I wanted to get to. It was my target. And I knew that my vision was good. It was just my execution. So I changed up my execution. And there were times on the run up the hill I was like, oh, this is way too hard. Do I really want to get here? I've reached a really beautiful, I think I've made it. This is possibly a good enough spot. Particularly after I realized there was going to be a big long road, like concrete road at the end, and crazy. I kept going and I made it. So part of this conversation is don't give up on your dreams, but the other part of it is sometimes you've got to give up on a particular idea and change it up, and you've got to do that fast. Do not spend 2 years working on something that maybe is not right. Figure that stuff out in weeks and months. So for me, it was a week that it took me to kind of change my strategy, figure it out. And if I didn't make it this time, I would have said, well, I guess I can't make it to the big Buddha. I'll find another goal to strive for. Alright, so I hope this has been useful. I hope my sweaty, hairy, chanting, tinkling bells video, like bad audio, bad light, has been of service and of use for you guys. I always love hearing from you. Until next time, see you later.
Puri